Sorry about that, Instagram, waiting for YouTube to go live. Robert J. Conley here, coming to you live. Hey, if you're watching this and you have a like button, please hit like. If you have a subscribe button, please hit subscribe. That helps this effort get a little bit more traction. Yeah, so I already said Robert J. Conley here. So I had a great question from a client yesterday, a client who I would not classify as an intuitive. And hopefully everybody knows that I'm perfectly fine with 70% of the population not being intuitive, because those are the people that actually get the work done. And what I'm about to say, you'll know that I'm being a little bit facetious. So anyway, my client asked me, "Hey, can you teach me how to be intuitive?" I can't. I can teach you a process by which if you have intuition, and everybody has some degree of intuition, but I can teach you a process by which your intuition can arrive, can be present. So I hearken back to one of my favorite shows I've talked about in the past. If you're an intuitive person and you want to see intuition in action, and also a miserable human being, watch the character Don Draper on Mad Men. It is all about his character is all about intuition and watching how that comes about. So if you've seen the show, you'll know the character Peggy, and Peggy was trying to come up with an idea, and she was a little bit tied in knots about this. And Don said to her, "Just think about it deeply, then forget it." And suddenly an idea will jump up in your face. And so for intuitives, that's exactly what it's like. And if you're not intuitive, if your first preference in perceiving the world is not intuition, then what you will notice is that it's not that you won't have intuition, but it might be somewhat primitive or less creative or more negative. And I'm painting with some generalities, but I just want to I want to share that not all intuition is sunshine and lollipops and productive. It can actually be dark and and pretty destructive. But where does intuition start? So as Don says, think about it deeply. So all intuition starts with observation, with keen observation. And another one of my favorite people to study is Ricky Gervais. He is a genius. And when you listen to him speak, what you start to realize is what a keen observer he is. And so then he keenly observes the human condition. And then he has the capacity to allow that to flow into intuition and put together shows that are insightful, hilarious, painful, awkward, all those things. And by the way, if you haven't seen his latest show, which I think is on Netflix, I think he's done like 3 seasons, called Afterlife. In my opinion, it's the greatest work he has done to date. It is brilliant, and it's not a comedy. I mean, there are funny parts, but it is easily, in my opinion, his most brilliant piece of work. So going back to the point. So observation, observe, think deeply. Then it's in the pause. It's in the incubation. It's when you're out gardening. It's when you're going for a walk. It's when you're listening to music. It's when you're driving. Whatever that is, when your mind now has completely gone blank on the intense study, and you've created the space for the incubation, for the fermentation, suddenly that thing is going to it's just going to hit you in the face. Oh, wow. Now, by systematizing that process and making the blankness, the forgetting about it, as important as the observation, you can be pretty systematic about having intuition arrive, but you can't force it. And so a lot of times where people, when an intuitive starts to lose their intuition, it's because they're not taking that time off, that break. They're not opening up that incubation period. And in the work world, where the challenge lies is that Intuition is not highly valued. It's how many pieces of steel did you, stamp today? How many chip diagrams did you do today? What measurable, quantifiable, observable piece of work did you shape, mold, change, cut, whatever today? And that's not what intuition is about. Intuition is actually about doing those things smarter, about doing them more effectively, about doing them more accurately. It's about, as I mentioned before, it's about authenticity. It's about harmony. Intuition is about ways to solve for those. And intuition is abstract. But it's also the game changer. It's the difference between observing trees and understanding the whole forest and being able, okay, we've got 50 trees. Okay, great. Now the specificity of that is what observation is. And that's where non-intuitives more or less stop. It's not that they don't have stuff beyond that, but that's kind of where the thing is. It's just like, okay, we got 50 trees. And it's the intuitive that then says, wow, we could fill in the blank, make paper out of those trees. We could make, invent new ways to use trees. We could see these possibilities. We see all these mixing and matching things. And so the mistake, though, that gets made is that then the intuitive is asked to help cut down the trees. The intuitive is helped to act to work in the molding of. And in an intuitive, in playing the proper position, goes back to observing, goes back to intense observing, to thinking deeply, and then forgetting about it, and then respite, and then allowing that fermentation. Now, it could be, as I'm saying this, it could be that the act of chopping down the trees is where that respite comes from. But that being said, what you want to do to be in your most intuitive place is to continually be doing that deep observation. And the title of my talk, Be Present, Not Perfect. So be present to what is happening. Be present to the observation of, and then let go, forget. And I could spend hours telling you great story. They're great in my humble opinion, of my intuitive leaps that have led to me making hundreds of thousands of dollars in deals and helping other people make millions of dollars. So the whole thing of repeating that cycle of making sure that you engage in the intense observation, intense, and that matters. It's the level of intensity. And then equally intensely forgetting about it, letting it ferment, letting it incubate. And when you least expect it, it's going to come up and smack you in the face. All right, my intuitives, it's your job to keep moving us forward, making us more productive, making us more harmonious, being authentic in ourselves, being effective in our work, and being accurate in our thinking, and keep moving forward. Till next time, I'm Robert J. Conley. Hey, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. Take care.